All right, let's turn to Saturday. We've got SMU and TCU. We've got TCU 6.5-point home favorite, 64 the total here in this game. You look at SMU, they're 0-3, by the way, against the spread, SMU. You haven't cashed a ticket yet with them. That East Texas A&M opener, I talked about that game. They had a pick six. They had 2 pick sixes. The offense was kind of shaky in that game, and defense ended up giving up, almost 400 yards to East Texas A&M. They got shredded through the air by Baylor in that 48-45 loss. Yes, they beat Missouri State 28-10 last week. But again, Jacob Clark, the secondary's got problems here. It's not a great SMU secondary. If you got a quarterback, he can throw the football, and you've got a good passing attack, you're going to be able to move the football here against SMU. No question about that. And we both like Josh Hoover quite a bit. We saw them obviously destroy and embarrass Bill Belichick in North Carolina in his debut with the Tar Heels on Labor Day. They followed that up, beating Abilene Christian 42-21 last week. I got to admit, I don't love the Abilene Christian, who lost their coordinator and quarterback from last year, by the way. They got a new quarterback here this year, Abilene. And Abilene rolled up over 400 yards against TCU's defense. So that's a little bit concerning going into this game. But we like Josh Hoover quite a bit. 337 yards passing last week against Abilene Christian. He was just ripping apart the North Carolina secondary in the first game, 284. He's a good quarterback. He can throw the ball. And SMU's secondary can't stop the pass. So that's right away a matchup advantage that screams TCU is going to be able to move the ball at will, potentially, through the air. I mean, nobody can be impressed with SMU's secondary right now. Their run defense is okay, but teams have just been having a field day throwing the ball on this SMU defense. On the flip side, you've got obviously Kevin Jennings, the SMU offense going into this game where, as usual, he's a dual threat. I think he's worked and he's improved, gradually on his passing. The passing numbers for SMU are okay. And believe it or not, the rushing numbers are kind of lagging behind a little bit. TCU's pass defense, is giving up 224 passing yards per game so far this season. What's also concerning here? 130 TCU's defense as far as completion percentage. 70% completions allowed to the opposing quarterbacks in the first 2 games, North Carolina and Abilene Christian. And it's not like North Carolina's offense has been rolling here this year, and Abilene Christian's got a new quarterback and offensive coordinator, and those quarterbacks still completed 70% completions. The Max Johnson, Gio Lopez duo for North Carolina, and then Earl for Abilene Christian last week. And all those quarterbacks combined, 70% completions against TCU's defense. So the over is the first thing that stands out. You're going to get pace both ways. I think both teams are going to have their pathways to success offensively. I like over here. I mean, I want to bet TCU. I don't know if I'll lay 6.5, but I don't think I trust SMU. I really don't. I think TCU is a really good football team, at least a very, very good offense and a good passing game. And that's where SMU is really up against it here, because that secondary looks like Swiss cheese. A lot of holes in it. C-Mac, what do you think here? SMU, TCU.
Yeah, I think this is the biggest thing with TCU just over the years. Now that they're favorites like this, I still don't trust the defense. Like I couldn't lay these points with them. I just flat out I can't. So sidewise, I'd have to use lean SMU. Their last game, they gave up those 10 points quick. I thought the defense played a little bit better against Missouri State, but Missouri State still threw for 275. They had a bunch of picks there, though, in that game.
He moved it through the air, but you're right. Just costly turnovers kept points.
Costly turnovers, bad penalties. They had 7 penalties in that game. I think this is it. I mean, how can you not? I mean, it's a little like the Baylor game. It's just they should just be able to easily move the football here. It's a high total for a reason. This is the over rover of the week. I don't see how.
SMU put 66 on the board against TCU last year. 60.
Yeah, it was 66.
It was. Yep. For
42.
SMU.
Yeah.
42. Yeah.
42. And traditionally, I mean, 34-17, you could give a 42-34, 32, 41-38. 56-36. I mean, I don't know how the defense stopped each other. Over
the total. Over the total is the best bet in this game. I will say
think so.
that lastly, last year SMU, I think they did go 2-0 against the spread as dogs. They were only underdogs twice. SMU last year. No, actually 2-0 in the regular season. They were dogs at Penn State and against Penn State in the playoff, and of course they got rolled in that game 38-10. But in the regular season, they went 2-0 against the spread as an underdog.
TCU too. Towards the end of last year, covered numbers.
Yeah.
You know, I thought the defense looked a little bit better at the end of last year. You know, Cincinnati, I was at Cincinnati, covered 49-28 against Arizona. Oklahoma State was horrible. Both those teams were very good. Yeah. So I have a little bit recurring nightmares, even though how loaded this TCU, team, especially the offense.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, fourth season for Rhett Lashley as head coach of SMU. Where's the time go? Boy, oh boy. And by the way, I got it. The Tulsa game, I want to make a correction. Kirk Francis, I said he was benched. No, he got injured, and that's why Baylor Hayes took over at quarterback for Tulsa. I think he was playing worthy of being benched, though. He still was not playing that great.
He just was all right in that game.
Yeah, no doubt.